Happy Monday, second grade. Welcome back to your second week of studying poetry. So, we are very proud of all of your effort from last week and the poems that you wrote, and just what an awesome job you did. So, today we're going to hear two new poems that are from a larger collection of poetry written by a poet named Alma Florada. And Alma was born in Cuba, which is a Spanish speaking island, and then she moved to the United States later in life with her 4 children. And these two poems were written about the lives of farm workers who work in the fields picking fruits and vegetables. So the first poem that we're going to read is called Lettuce, and the second poem we're going to read is called Peaches. So let's get started. I'm going to read the poem Lettuce by Alma Florada, and this is the English version. Close your eyes and make a picture in your mind as you listen to me read. Small, curly, fresh and wrinkled heads of bright green lettuce. Empty boxes wait for us to bend our backs and fill them up. Let's read it one more time. Small, curly, fresh and wrinkled heads of bright green lettuce. Empty boxes wait for us to bend our backs and fill them up. Now we're going to talk about what is happening in this poem. You can turn and talk to an adult at home, or you can pause the video. You may be working on this with your class. So the first thing I want you to do is look at how this poem has been divided into 2 stanzas. So a stanza is a group of lines that are together in a poem, kind of like a little paragraph, the way we would see in a story. So we have the first stanza, and then down here we have the second stanza. So the author is giving us clues about what is happening in this poem. Just like we have clues in a story, sometimes we have clues in a poem. So we know that the workers are doing something. So think about, what are the workers doing in this poem? If you guess that they're picking lettuce, you are correct. It tells us that there is lettuce in the field, specifically heads of bright green lettuce. And then in the second stanza, it tells us that they're filling boxes with lettuce because it says the empty boxes wait for us. Now, if you think about it, bending down and picking something up or filling in a box, especially if the box is empty, that means that it needs to be filled up. That tells us that these workers are working pretty hard because they have to bend down, right? So the author is giving us a lot of clues in the poem, and we can use those clues to see what is happening. I'm going to read the first stanza to you one more time. Make sure you have a piece of paper. I want you to jot down what words describe what the lettuce looks like. Listen carefully. Small, curly, fresh and wrinkled heads of bright green lettuce. You can go ahead and pause the video and jot down what words describe what the lettuce looks like. Okay. Let's talk about what you wrote down. So words like small, curly, fresh, wrinkled, and bright green are all descriptive words that the poet used to help us imagine what the lettuce looks like. So she described the size of the lettuce and its appearance, so that means what it looks like, as well as the color. And all of those details help us to really imagine the lettuce in our mind. Now you're going to listen to the second poem, which is called Peaches. And this is the English version of the poem. So close your eyes and listen carefully as I read the poem aloud. Juicy golden peaches, honey sweet, like a gentle caress in the palm of my hand. Now that you've heard the poem several times, let's go over a couple of things. First, how does the peach look? What words does the poet use to describe how the peach looks? Well, golden, you can see I have that underlined. That's a good adjective for a peach, so that describes how it looks. What about how it tastes? Juicy would describe the peach. You can see that I've underlined the word juicy. And honey sweet is also a great way to describe a peach, too. Now, we can also imagine in our mind if you've ever held a peach in your hand, the flesh of the peach kind of molds to your hand, especially when it's ripe. And that's what the author means when she says that it's like a gentle caress in the palm of my hand. So, those are all different ways that the author describes the peach to create a picture in your mind. So, now that we've read about food and talked about food, you are going to be working on a poem about your favorite food or one of your favorite foods. So, here are a couple of questions that I want you to start thinking about, brainstorming in your mind. The first question is, what does your favorite food look like? The second question I want you to think about is, what does your favorite food taste like or smell like if it has a smell to it? And then the third thing is, how does your food feel in your hand if it's a food that you would hold, or if it's not a food that you would hold, how does it feel in your mouth? Or maybe you do both. So I want you to think about those three questions so that you can write your own food poem. Before you start writing your poem, we're going to brainstorm together just a couple of examples to get you thinking. So I thought we could do a couple of foods that seem to be pretty popular, or at least foods that I know you've all had before. So let's start off with apples. And let's think about words that describe how apples might look, how they might feel, how they might taste. So one of the first things that comes to mind when I think of an apple is shiny. So we're going to write shiny. And apples can be many different colors, but a lot of the time people associate red with an apple. So I'm going to go ahead and add red to our list of words to describe apple. Now, you can always think of the shape of your food. So apples are round, so I'm going to add round. And now I'm going to think about how an apple feels in my hand if I'm holding it. And most apples are pretty smooth, so we're going to add the word smooth. Let's think now about when we go to eat the apple. Apples are definitely crunchy, so let's add the word crunchy. That's a good describing word. And apples are definitely wet when you bite into them, right? So we're going to add the word wet. And I think we can get one more. How about sweet? I think most apples are pretty sweet. Some can be a little bit sour, but let's go ahead and add sweet. So there we go. Okay, so we've got shiny, red, round, smooth, crunchy, wet, and sweet. All right, I think that describes an apple pretty well. So let's do one more together. And don't worry about that. I want to have a little bit of a space there. Okay, so let's try pizza. Pizza seems to be a food that most of us enjoy. Okay, so I'm thinking about how pizza looks, and usually pizza is shaped like a triangle. So let's use the word triangles to describe how it looks. And I think a lot of pizza has a crispy crust, so that would be good to add to our list. And pizza has cheese, and we can see the cheese, so let's add that. What about, gooey? Let's do gooey. Pizza is often gooey in a good way. And this may be an opinion, but I think pizza is delicious, and I think a lot of you would agree with me on that. So let's add the word delicious. Okay, so we have triangles, crispy crust, cheese, gooey, and delicious to describe the pizza. Now, before you start working on your poem, let's go ahead and also briefly talk about how you could start your poem. So, if we were starting a poem about our favorite food, I'm thinking of two different ways. So, maybe one option could be I love pizza. Oh, let's put the A on there. I love pizza. So, you could start off your poem by saying, I love blank, which means that you would insert whatever the favorite food is that you want to write about. In my case, I'm going to put pizza. Or you could also say, maybe whatever your favorite food is. For me, I'm going to put pizza is yummy. Or you could even do pizza is delicious. So, those are some examples of how you can start your poem off. You can say, I love, and then insert the name of your food, or you can start off by saying the name of your food is yummy, or the name of your food is delicious. Okay, I know y'all are going to do an awesome job with your poems, and we can't wait to see what you come up with.